say they want the culture. Eat it up, turn them to vultures.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am William Cueva.
And I'm Margarita Cashati. And we are your hosts for today's show.
In honor of Black History Month, we decided to dedicate today's show to the culture. What does that mean? Well, culture is generally what many would call the norms in a particular society, but culture is merely being connected to the things we identify with that help us shape ourselves into who we are. Today we will showcase the true representation in African American history.
Let's begin with a little Black girl magic. Black girl magic is a term used in the culture to illustrate the awesomeness of Black women. This extraordinary woman is not only magical, but she is instrumental in reconstructing justice in a system that's not always built to serve those that look like her. Aramis Ayala is the first African American state's attorney for the state of Florida. Although she is a resident of the Sunshine State, her roots are deeply embedded in a town right in the heart of Michigan. Aramis received her undergraduate degree at the University of Michigan before completing her law degree at the University of Detroit Mercy School of Law. She started in the Polk County State's Attorney's Office, where she was a prosecutor for some of the county's major crimes. She spent the rest of her career defending cases of those charged with capital life sentences, as well as teaching law at FAMU, one of Florida's historical Black universities. On November 16, 2016, Aramis Ayala engraved her name into the state's history by becoming its first African American state's attorney. On behalf of the culture, I'd just like to say #BlackGirlMagic.
The Wells Built Museum, previously a hotel, was the only Black-owned and operating establishment in the early 1900s. Here is the story.
My name is Geraldine Thompson. I am the founder of the Wells Built Museum of African American History and Culture. I've been in the Orlando area over 40 years. I've done a number of things, from being a classroom teacher to being an administrator at Valencia College, to serving 10 years in the Florida legislature, 6 years in the Florida House of Representatives, and 4 years in the Florida Senate. And throughout all of that, my passion has been documenting the history of African American people, because unless it's documented in the minds of a lot of people, it did not happen. So I was involved in an oral history project where we had interviews with people like Arthur Pappy Kennedy, Nat Ford, names that people recognize today. They're no longer with us, and if we had not done the oral histories, then we would not have the information. And the museum grew out of the oral history projects where we got lots of photographs, we got artifacts, we got memorabilia, and wanted to share that with the community, and found the Wells Built Hotel. But when they finished entertaining, they didn't have a place to stay, because during the 1920s, 30s, up until the 1970s, because of segregation, African Americans could not stay at the hotels in Orlando. So Dr. Wells had the idea to build a hotel. And he got a building permit from the city of Orlando in 1926 to build a 2-story, 6,800 square foot structure where African Americans could stay when they came to Central Florida. A lot of the entertainers who performed at the South Street Casino lived at the Wells Built Hotel. And dignitaries such as Thurgood Marshall, Jackie Robinson lived at the Wells Built when his team came to Orlando in 1947. His teammates stayed at the other hotel on Orange Avenue. It was called the Angebuilt, but it was a segregated facility, and African Americans only went there if they were cooks or maids or bus boys or something, bellmen. And so Dr. Wells was aware of the Angebuilt. He got the building permit and constructed a hotel, and when he opened it, he called it the Wells Built. And so it is named for him. Well, I think the more human beings know about each other and know about our experiences, the more appreciation we have for each other. And the more you appreciate your fellow human beings, then the less likely you are to seek to harm them, to seek to annihilate them, And when you don't know people, you fear what you don't know. And so it's very important for other people to learn this history. And I like to say that African American history is really American history. You can't tell the story of America without telling the story of African Americans. It's Florida history. You can't tell the story of Florida without telling the story of African Americans in Florida who helped to bring us to a time and a point.
Man, it smells good in here.
Mm-hmm.
When we return, we will check in with the kitchen and see what they have been cooking. Stay tuned.
Put your bad self. Say it louder. Say it louder. Look here. Put your bad self. Say it louder. Say it louder. Look here. Some people say we got a lot of malice. Some say it's a lot of nerve. But I say we won't quit moving until we get what we deserve. We've been buked and we've been scorned. We've been big bad talked about as sure as you moan.
Welcome back. In the culture, we have a tendency to make up words that, for the most part, are only understood amongst one another. We talked to a few students here at Full Sail to see if they could recognize any of them.
Have you ever heard the term for the culture?
Well, yeah, I heard it.
Do you have any idea what it means?
Is it like supposing to standing together and help each other out?
That's a good answer. We're asking what these words mean to you.
Oh, on fleek? I think on fleek means like, stylish, like, I don't know, something like that.
Something that looks good or is done well.
Cultural appropriation is when you're adopting someone else's culture as your own, and I don't have any issues with it.
When talking about a subject about race, what is appropriate for the topic? Like for example, if you're talking about like Puerto Ricans, what is going to be appropriate for that topic?
On fleek, I mean, it's like it's on point. It's popping. Like it's like whatever you're doing is right.
For the culture, for my culture, for the culture, I would definitely say is more of a movement, saying it's embracing and loving on things that a certain amount of people know or a certain experience through ethnicity and race.
Yeah, for the culture, it's influencing a large group of people in a positive way. Whether it's through music, through movies, through a TV show, whatever your medium is, for the culture is influencing them in a positive way, giving them something to look up to.
Well, for me, it's culture that has been stolen from us, that we're trying to reinvent right now, especially in music and in art form, so that's for me.
For the culture means something like that you don't want stolen from you without permission.
Is this the idea that like whatever you do or whatever that person's doing is this for your specific culture that you're doing it?
Sauce is like I'm saucy. I'm on point. It's like I'm dressed up.
It's like on flake.
No. It's like on fleek. It would be more of what you have is like perfect right now. Sauce is more of like your swag,
He has too much class, too much sauce.
I don't like Kyrie. Kyrie got mad sauce. Handles is just nice. Everything you just do is nice. He has sauce.
On fleek or on flick, we something that looks nice. When you're looking jive. Got a nice hair going.
No, sauce is like I don't know. Like you got flavor. Like you got it in you or something. I don't know.
Well, words from my man Gucci Mane. If you don't got the sauce, then you lost. You know what I mean? That's basically it. If you don't got it, you don't got it. So you'll never know what it is. You know what I mean? That's just me.
Got it. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate that, and see you next time.
That was a lot of fun. Let's check on Margarita in the kitchen.
I'm here with Berger and Caesar, and it seems like they're cooking a dessert. What are you guys making?
Yeah, we are doing.
We're making the kool-aid pie. Kool-aid for the culture, of course.
Awesome. So what are the ingredients that you guys are going to be using?
We're actually going to add some more ingredients. You want to add some sweetened condensed milk.
Yeah, it's good, it's good, it's good, it's good. And then we are just putting cream cheese, the rest of the block of the cream cheese, and we're just gonna incorporate all the ingredients.
And some more whipped cream.
And we're just gonna put a lot of whipped cream because I know you guys at home like whipped cream.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so where did you get this recipe from?
I actually got this recipe from my mom. She likes to make it for when we all meet up with the family for a tradition. Of course, it's one of our signature desserts.
And have you ever made this before?
Yeah, actually, like since Bridget and me, we work together. Like she actually been introducing me like really cool recipes, and it's a good opportunity to share a little bit of both of our cultures, and this is how we do it, you know.
Just continue to stir it, keep it going.
That's amazing. All right, so later we will check back in for the finished product. When we return, we will have a Black History panel discussion.
So yeah, so you can start talking with me and be like, oh my God.
I know my parents loved me, stand behind me come what may. I know now that I'm ready, yeah. For I finally heard him say, it's a different world, ooh, than where you come from. Yes, it is now, yeah. Here's our chance to
Keep that quiet. And we're back with our panel discussion about Black history and African American culture. My name is Elisha Gadet. I'm the host, and go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Andrew Grant.
Hey, I'm Jacob Fuller.
My name is Marquise Wilkins.
And I am Rachel Taylor.
Okay, nice to meet you guys. We're gonna start ladies first. The first question I have is, what is Black history, and what does Black history mean to you?
Black history is being able to celebrate the minority group, being able to appreciate everybody in their own like cultures. We are all different from each other, being able to help one another grow. Black history is definitely needs to be a little bit more recognized in this day and age.
That's good, that's good. I'll let you go next. What is Black history?
Black history to me is basically inspiring individuals that look of me and basically inspire them for future things, you know.
Okay, and I'll let you go on.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me, it's important to consider, you know, there's a dark history that you guys have had, but also you've done so much creative and, you know, awesome and unique things in your culture lately. This music and films and just all the unique things that you guys have done recently that I think just needs to be celebrated as well. But don't forget that past that you guys have had as well needs to be remembered. So.
Very cool, very cool. My next question is, do you think it's necessary to have a Black History Month? Let you take that one.
So I think it's very important to have a Black History Month for the fact that, you know, future generations will not be so, you know, involved in what has happened in the past, like civil rights and slavery, and it'll personify that in schools and education, educating those that, you know, have not, you know, been subjected to that kind of thing as we move forward and progress. So.
Anyone else who has an opinion on that? Let anyone speak on it.
I don't think Black history should be celebrated every month. I think it should be implemented as just as history as it is, because in America we focus more on other people's problems than our own. So I think it would just be better that it just gets implemented with the regular history and it's not segregated as a Black history or a Black thing.
Yeah, just like how Martin Luther King Jr. has his own day, other people like that should have their own days too, so for it to be represented.
It's very cool. Very cool. That's a very interesting point. So the last question we have is, how do you think, we were just talking about Black history, how do you think we can contribute to the culture now, and how do you think we can share Black history now? I'm going to start with you.
Okay. So the biggest thing is for our generation to move forward and move into industry as leaders, you know, in businesses and technology and all these kind of different innovations. It's so important for us to start picking up in business and innovation. So I think that's a very important thing in our culture to be pushed.
I'll let you go down in the end.
Kind of like put yourself in their shoes, understand like what they're coming from. Like we all have our own battles, so I mean it's just like being kind about people and kind of like not really wanting to have the deviation of racism. Kind of take it back.
Very cool, very cool. Quickly, I'll let you go and I'll let you finish.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important to always remember the past, but to always look to the future and the new generations and see the amazing things that are getting done and be inspired by that.
Very nice, very nice. I'm
Yeah,
glad you
one thing I never liked was false history, and one thing that always bothered me in school is I was told George Washington Carver actually made peanut butter, and we didn't know that he made peanut oil as like a fuel for vehicles at that time for Ford, and he created the ideal word of a power plant because he was basically studying like plants and stuff and finding ways to better the habitat and things like that.
That's amazing. That's really, really cool. Well, that's all we have. We're gonna wrap it up and take it to the studio and see what they're cooking.
And we're back. So
guys, right now Bridget is gonna put the mixture in the mold. So remember that you need to put, after that you need to put it in the fridge between 3 or 4 hours and let it set. And this is the final product, guys. We're gonna taste it right now. So go ahead, guys, try it. Bridget, go ahead.
Okay, ready?
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. You like it?
It's amazing.
This is the texture
amazing.
and
So
everything.
where can we find this recipe?
We can find the recipe in www.jandcaesar.food.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. And remember to share your recipes in Instagram with the hashtag BridgetandCaesarFood.
Well, I'm gonna keep eating this, but I will see you when you return.
Let me pour.
Jungle Boogie. Black Panther. Must feel good. Sitting here comfortable. What do you want? Your secrets. Your weapons. I'ma burn it all. This ends today. You need a hero. Black Panther. You need a hero. Rated PG-13.
The Black Panther movie killed at the box office this opening weekend. Here are some reactions from the locals.
The Black Panther has been the protector of Wakanda for generations.
But I wasn't like a huge Black Panther fan, this and that. But I'm more of a Marvel fan in general, so I go and see every Marvel movie, so I'm not gonna step out.
You see the squad? I got the keys. There is no surrender, we will not leave. So when I'm calling, they rally the troops. We have defeated some valiant troops. You got a problem, I'm grabbing the suit.
I know that it's a superhero movie based on Marvel Comics characters. I haven't seen it, but I've been watching people talk about it on social media, and I've been watching the actors and actresses, on the red carpet and all the hype around it. So I was really excited to bring my boys to see it.
Well, work-related, I know it's a really big hit, especially in the last 2 days. We've gotten so many people coming in and just enjoying themselves. I know we're sold out of the merchandise almost.
He's one of the Marvel universe. He's the king of Wakanda. He's like one of the first African American superheroes like in the Marvel universe.
I'm seeing a lot of people dressing up to come to the opening weekend. I see a lot of people talking about how empowered they feel about after seeing the movie.
I'm mocking my boy Killmonger, man. One of the greatest MCU villains out there. Can't nobody compete with him. Okay, maybe Thanos, but we're not gonna go there because Thanos is Thanos. But anyway, Killmonger, as you can already see.
What do you do? Killing the enemy, you better choose. Suit energy is kinetic. Whatever you dish it, I throw it back. You and your team is pathetic. We on a mission to hold it back.
That movie was the greatest movie I've ever seen in my entire life. No exaggeration.
I kind of had my expectations actually kind of higher than most Marvel movies because of Ryan Coogler, because I've loved his other two movies, and so kind of that, and also the cast, and Marvel has pretty much set a very high bar for themselves. So as those kind of factors,
I feel like it kind of shows that there's not always like the bad side of people. There's like a really good side, and they can help each other no matter what their race is or even like gender, because I know that there's like people that are sexist and they have the same issues.
Bow to the king, respect my throne. Yeah, we here now, don't be scared now. Y'all know we about to tear this down. Yeah, we here now, don't be scared now. Y'all know we about to tear this down.
Made it $201 million for its 3-day debut in North America this weekend, making it the 5th biggest opening of all time, in addition to its worldwide gross of a whopping $419 million. We will have more when we return.
And breaking news.
Black Excellence is an all-time high. With me to talk about it is Bakari Sanders, April Ryan, Simone Sanders, and Angela White. Angela, all-time high.
Of course it's at an all-time high. Black folks consistently go high.
Give me some examples.
Dawn, we don't have enough time. Serena Williams won the Australian Open. Wow, she was 8 weeks pregnant. And don't forget, black women saved Alabama.
98%.
And Uber shut off the boat. We got Issa, Ava, Lena, Oprah, and so many more.
We got some black man magic too. Dapper Dan, a trailblazer in fashion, officially partnered with Gucci and opened up a Gucci store in Harlem. Rich Dennis, the brothers sold Shea Moisture, then made sure they established a fund to support black women, then bought Essence magazine, making it 100% black owned again.
We made history in elections in Alabama, Virginia, and North Carolina.
Atlanta got a mayor named Keisha.
Hey Keisha.
Oh, Angela.
Don't forget, we have the Black Panther movie coming out on February 16th, and it's already breaking records with pre-sales. And we have Ava's A Wrinkle in Time coming out on March 9th.
Wait, did we forget to talk about how Hidden Figures, Girls Trip, and Get Out shattered records? Listen, black folks have always been dope and always will be dope.
Ain't nothing fake about that news. They have it. Black Excellence have an all-time high. Happy Black History Month.
I am happy to join you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. Those were the opening words of Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, an iconic mark in the civil rights movement. Amidst the blood and suffering that the black Americans had to endure during the civil rights era, it never blindsided Martin Luther King Jr.'s vision for equality. Many leaders like him believed that real change was created through peace, love, and unity among all people.
We face the difficulties
of today and tomorrow. I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
While love and peace for the most part was the only answer to find acceptance in a nation that isolated them, those like Malcolm X believed that there can be no peace because those in authority abuse their power. He believed that we as a people needed to revolt and stand together against oppression. In this mentality, Black Americans decided to use their constitutional rights and arm themselves, believing that if the government won't protect their rights, then it's only human to take matters into their own hands. Huey P. Newton founded the Black Panthers in 1966 in order to protect the Black neighborhoods from roving mobs that targeted Black citizens and our communities. While taken to the extremes and demonized by the media and government officials, the Black Panther Party was instrumental in the reconstructing of Black neighborhoods, promoting unity and pride among one another, as well as providing services and resources that weren't afforded to those that looked like them during that time. The contributions organizations like the Black Panthers, the Civil Rights Era, and those like MLK, Malcolm X, helped to bridge the gap in a society that continues to birth strong figures and unique voices. Angela Davis, Angela Rye, Alicia Garza, the leaders of Black Lives Matter, and countless other nameless and faceless heroes fighting in the trenches. Nearly 60 years since we've anchored our power in the survival of our people, the path to equality has never been easy to follow. As we revisit those moments of frustration, let that anger be righteous, the kind that doesn't repay evil for evil, rather the kind that drives us to act, to move, to preserve our rights and ensure our advances. We have seen enough, we know enough, and we have had enough. But when will we all do enough?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time to wrap things up. Here are my final thoughts. Today's show was about taking the time to highlight the strides African Americans have made in history, while this particular show focused on Black excellence and the culture within our communities and entertainment. Let's not forget that as we celebrate Black history, we are also celebrating American history. We welcome all backgrounds and cultures to celebrate with us. Beyond the delegation of a single month, Black history is celebrated every day. This not only shows the strides we have made as individuals, but as a nation, and on how we can support one another and promote inclusion and unity. There's a long road ahead and a lot of work we have left to do. Despite the division, feud, and strife in the climate of this country, we are all entitled to the right of life, freedom, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you for watching. I'm William Cuevas. God bless and good night.
So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Culture, culture, culture. Say they want the culture.